Hey, this is Nicolosi, and welcome back to the part 3 of our Game Computer series where we explore how you can use the module to create all kinds of dynamics effects. So here I have the preset we created in the previous episode, and I forgot to mention one thing why I didn't use up as a way to gain compensate, and instead I inserted a separate module volume and used its gain dial to compensate for the gain reduction. And that's because to get the correct behavior in the feedback compressor, we can't apply gain compensation before the analysis. And that's why we have a volume inserted after the gain computer. Okay, in this video, I'd like to show you how you can use the gain computer module to create an upwards processor. Now, most compressors and expanders are what's called downward processors. And that's because they're always reducing gain. So if level is above threshold, whether it's a compressor or an expander, the level is reduced. But upwards expanders or compressors expand level upwards. And with a compressor, when the level is above the threshold, gain increases, and same goes with the expander. Now, the reason it's not a common processor is because it's hard to control gain. You can get very large gains if you're not careful. And range parameter here helps us with that because we can set the maximum amount of gain expansion that will be applied to the signal. Okay, so this is what our preset currently sounds like. And so the reason this is a downwards compressor is because the range is set to negative value. As soon as we set it to a positive value, the graph has changed, and now what happens, the level above threshold increases. Now, to control our gain, let's set it to maximum amount to 12 dB to keep things under control. And then what we need to do is that instead of modulating down parameter, we want to modulate the up parameter, and that gives us gain. That gives us gain expansion, as you can see. Now, before I turn it on, I'm just going to turn it down just to control our levels. And let's see. And in this case, a down slider can be used as a way to compensate for the gain expansion. Now, what's happening here is that as soon as level drops below threshold, it's increased, and you can see it's brought up by maximum amount of 12 dB, and you can see it's fully increased to 12 dB here. So that's our compressor. We can do the same with expander, and here you can see again the gain is increased as soon as threshold is above. As soon as the level is above threshold. And again, the maximum of 12 dB is applied. That's why the line breaks here. And this is what it sounds like. So as I said, you can set range to whatever you want here, but it's best to start with low values. You can even try 6 dB here and make sure they're matched. So to get the upward expander or upward compressor, you need to set the range to a positive value, and you want to modulate up parameter, and then you can use the down parameter to compensate for the gain expansion. And My favorite effect is the upward expander. It's a nice way to process drums. And another thing you can do is that you can always insert a clipper, and that's a way to control levels. So in case things get too loud, it will get clipped. And like so, if I get rid of the so if I increase the down slider, I will put back to 0. You can see the clipping is triggered here. Okay, so that was quite loud. But like I said, you need to be careful with the upwards processors. But if you set the range low, you'll have a signal under control, and it's quite a nice processor to get interesting results. Okay, that's all for now. Like and share if you found this useful. For any questions or feedback, leave a comment below. See you next time.